Hey guys, my name is Emely Roman, and this is Jesse Arroyave.
It's close enough.
And welcome back to the Marketing for Tax Professionals show, podcast show, whatever, wherever you're watching.
You're just learning. You're learning good stuff.
Yes, you're learning. You're learning.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about organic marketing strategies for tax pros and how to master it. I love organic marketing strategies. And I think, again, with this particular episode, it's a lot about a mindset shift. But let's kind of get into it, right? We already kind of talked about what is organic marketing in the last episode, but can you just give us kind of like a brief
organic
summary?
Marketing, to that main point, is like sweat equity.
Sweat
like
equity,
what,
I love it.
Right,
yes.
like what am I doing to make sure that I get my message, my branding, my visuals across to my ideal audience? And so a lot of that is the work that you put in. Am I creating video? Am I creating, pieces of content like an ebook, like an infographic, maybe a meme, right? Like within your Instagram page, just kind of make it lighthearted. One thing that we did really early on, a couple years back, we would find like these tax-related songs, right? Or like guess that's the song. There's one like I think Taxman by Johnny Cash, right?
Okay,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or More Money, More Problems by Biggie, right? We want to have him in there. So what you want to be able to do is create those pieces that showcase your personality, because people can gravitate towards that.
That's so important.
Yeah.
That is so important. I think that organic marketing, yes, I love the sweat equity part, because it just basically creates that expectation that it's going to be work. But there is no better way than to show your personality and, your authenticity. Yeah. And are you trustworthy as a business than organic marketing? Because you can use ads and kind of just repeat the narrative over and over again, and be very product centric, and just kind of lose that connection, human connection for sure. I think that for me specifically, and we have points here that we want to cover, and one of them is content creation as the heart of organic marketing. Before actually getting into that strategy, I think is really important to understand that you're truly building a marketing ecosystem, right? Like, it's not really that there is a silver bullet or a miracle pill in marketing or in sales that is going to make you a 7-figure business owner overnight. There isn't. I think that to be more realistic is the right combination of the marketing strategies that you kind of set in your business plan that are going to give you that kind of success. So if you want to be a 7-figure business owner, you have to understand that there is a marketing mix. People call it marketing mix. I love calling it marketing mixology.
Okay.
Just to be a little bit more refined. But
you like cocktails?
Yes.
Okay. I can see where that's coming
and
from.
Café. But it's really the understanding, or kind of like selecting the right marketing mix. So when you build that business plan and that marketing strategy for your business, organic has to be part of it. But you can't expect organic to be the silver bullet. Yeah. So same thing with Facebook ads or paid advertising. Don't expect those to be standalone miracle cures to the growth of your business. It's which one really can I use today and leverage the most? Which one can I leverage the most? Yeah. Organic marketing, when it comes to it comes, again, the human part, right? Communication is not just about posting something on social media. It's about sending a DM. Yeah. It's about replying to things. It's about establishing a community. It's about putting yourself on IG stories and talking about your life. And some people are not comfortable with that. So you need to find the happy medium that is good for you. So let's talk about content creation. And how does one begin that content creation process?
Well, I think a lot of that, a lot of the content ideas you can get from your customers and when you have those conversations. Again, to the point of what are they always asking about? Once you start to do that, you're tapping into the pain points of that ideal customer.
Yeah.
And then and I would say, hey, dedicate, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just maybe an hour every couple of days, maybe a week, hour or two, right? Just to think about what these ideas, but really take the time to think about it. Just don't go, like I said, don't go on Google, don't go on ChatGPT. Give me 5. That can help give you ideas, right? But the ones that are gonna work the best.
Yes.
The ones that are going to work the best are the ones that you're hearing it right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Right? The customers are telling you what those issues are. Then you can use a lot of the tools that are available. Like Canva is a great tool to use. You can use a lot of like Riverside FM, which we like to use as well. And to that point, not only just create content around yourself and what you're doing, but use some testimonials as well.
Facts.
Right? Like definitely use some testimonials as part of your organic strategy.
I want to add something. So we are basically gearing up for an amazing 2024. And part of the reason why we're here today is like just to really level up the content creation side for Refundo and all that stuff. Remember, we talked about what is the content calendar, right? And so I think it's important that you do have a content marketing calendar. And we put a lot of emphasis of like, do I create a carousel on Instagram? Do I create a reel? What do I share this day? What do I share that day? It's really important to start before that. You want to go ahead and ask yourself, what is it that I want to communicate on Monday? What is it that I want to communicate on Tuesday? What is it that I want to communicate this week? 3 weeks from now. And I always like to actually center the content marketing calendar around your sales strategies. Okay. So like if there's for tax professionals specifically, tax season, right? What is the sales strategy to get to that point? And then from there, I start building the actual content strategy, because a lot of times what I see is that there is a disconnect between the content that is being published and what's being sold, right? So like, oh, I'm creating all the, because this is what happens. I'm creating all of this educational things, and I'm serving and I'm helping people because that's what you hear. Yeah. But then you're not selling. Right? So how do you, connecting those two things is really important at the very beginning. And, don't forget to sell, right?
And it can, and that call to action can be as simple as like, hey, send me a DM or comment on this post or book an appointment, right? Like whatever that next step in that journey, it has to be very, very clear. Otherwise, you're just creating educational content, which is great. You're sharing a lot of value. But
a lot of people get burned out though.
They
When it's all about giving, it gets to a point where people, and I actually struggle with this too myself as a content creator, like I'm giving, and then all of a sudden, like I'm not really getting any sales, and this is where you feel like, man, organic content doesn't work. But most of the time what we see is that there is a huge disconnect between the actual content marketing strategy and the sales strategy. So think about like, what do you want to sell every month? January, February, like what do you want to sell? When do you want to sell? When do you want to make those big pushes in your business to sell the product? And then start working your content around it. Because if you're selling, let's say bookkeeping, for example, right? Then create content around bookkeeping, right? If you're selling tax, services, create content around tax services. If you're selling, whatever it is that you're selling, just create content that is centered around there, and could be the pain points, it could be the testimonials on that specific product. I mean, we can go on and about that.
Now, I did want to speak on that, on one point in particular, to play devil's advocate, just a tad little bit. Alex Hormozi, I love his podcast, love what he does, and one thing that he really stresses is the fact that he loves to give as much shit for free. He just gives everything for free. And to your point, like some people can feel burned out by that. But you can also gain an incredibly loyal following just because of the amount of passion and value that you're bringing your customers. So think about what that might look like from a tax perspective. These ambassadors of your brand, right? These minions coming out and fighting for you. Like, no, you need to go to this guy. Like he just does this, he does this, he does that. So
I think there has to be a fine balance. Because Alex, he's at a different point, right? Like he's $100 million or more brand. But for us little guys, we have to find that really that healthy medium between selling and educating. Once you start actually being able to allocate marketing budget, right? Because this is kind of like the beginning stages, right? But once you start actually having some marketing budget to allocate, whether it's $3,000, $6,000, then you can start actually looking at, building a community around your beliefs, building a brand and things of that nature. But again, we want to make sure that there is a performance-based strategy to content marketing, because that's another thing. Like, you could hire a content marketer who might tell you, oh, it's just content, where I'm just creating content. You might have that mindset, oh, she's just creating, some Canva graphics in there, right? And then then you don't see the true value of content marketing. So it's important to set those expectations in there.
Completely agree.
So let's talk about leveraging social media platforms, and what is the role of social media in organic marketing when it comes to tax pros?
So when it comes to tax pros, and I know you can speak to this as well. Every platform's different in the way that you communicate. Facebook's very different from, similar, maybe a little similar to Instagram, but even very different from LinkedIn, right? And YouTube. And so you have to be able to, one, be on all those platforms, but think about what that organic strategy is. You don't have to create a video for each one. You can repurpose those pieces of content, which is key. But making sure that the messaging for that platform resonates and it makes sense with that kind of audience.
So you are a subscriber to being everywhere at the beginning?
Yes and no. Okay. Yes and no. I think there's a healthy balance, just because, like, for a lot of tax pros, that can be a little overwhelming to be on everything, or to feel like you need to be on everything. So initially you can feel like, let's dominate this Facebook, Instagram realm a little bit, right? Let me get this right, and then use some of those things that I learned in that content creation process for those, to kind of switch up the language a little bit for LinkedIn.
I think it also matters where your person is, right? Like, is your person a dentist? And if a person is a dentist, maybe LinkedIn is where they're going to be. Maybe, I don't know. So if it's a beauty professional, hairstylist person, maybe Instagram, right? So I think it's important to kind of like understand the user, which is why we kind of, the first episode of this podcast was niching down, because we want to make sure that you know who you're actually trying to sell. So that's important.
And you can even use, like, within those social platforms like Facebook, like, use Facebook groups, almost like that networking.
I love that.
Networking, right? Like, feel, right? Like, you're, again, fishing with dynamite. These people are focused contractors, dentists, whatever the case is, and now you're speaking directly to them. So that's another opportunity that we can definitely focus on.
And I know, like, for me, for example, like, just personal experience, the client that I had that was a 7-figure a month tax business, she leveraged Facebook groups like nobody's business. Like, she was all over the place, and she would basically work with digital marketing agencies, and she was in all the digital marketing agency Facebook groups, putting tons of, like, resources, and networking, right? Because social media is also networking. It is networking. So make sure that you're not forgetting that part too, and allocate at least an hour a week or 30 minutes a week just to kind of have those communications.
I mean, within the Tax Marketing Mastery Program, there's a specific part where we talk about Facebook groups, right? And the whole concept of, like, don't just go in there and sell. Like, people can read right through that. Like, be a little bit more tactful, right? Like, if someone's posting something, then add some, hey, by the way, for any teachers that are in this group, did you guys know that you can deduct this, this, and this? Just wanted to throw that out there. That's all you need to do. It's a feeler. 2 cents. One, because two things can happen. That person's probably going to go and confer with a tax professional that they're using. And if that person doesn't know, that's their first red flag. Like, you should know this. Right? And then the second thing is just reinforcing what you know and your expertise, right? Like, within the group. And now you're focusing on, those value points for that particular
She used to do a
group.
lot of testimonial stories, but it wasn't like, oh, we just helped this agency saved, $50,000. It was more of like, X agency came to me because they had, basically spent $3,000 a month on a tax professional before, and they felt like they weren't really getting all of the tax strategies that you were supposed to get. And so we dove deep down and took a look at his books and all of this other stuff, and we managed to save them. So really just creating those stories and sharing testimonials. We won't have time to talk about this, but like having really good hooks is really important for that.
And within those conversations, asking the right questions, like, where are you right now? You're at 150 clients. Where do you want to be at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Right. What current referral strategy do you have? Like, do you like being on social? Like, the more questions you ask about how they're handling their business, the more curious they're going to be about how you can help.
Yes.
Right. And it's about really doing that.
I think that one of the things that is important too, and this doesn't really have a lot to do with organic marketing, but maybe it does, is not just talking to the pain points that they have with tax or with bookkeeping, but also, like, to your point, like the pain points that they have maybe running their businesses, like, what kind of clients that they have, what are some of their pain points as an actual business owner that they're going through, and understanding kind of like their seasons in business too, like in the year, what are they going through, and then actually talking to that. So like really going back to, in a previous episode, I said it's basically like, marketing is like dating, like you have to really do your best to understand this person, see what this person likes, what their favorite color is, what their whatever. Same thing in business. If you can get as much information about your ICA or ideal client avatar, you're going to win. And whether it's organic or paid or whatever it is that you're doing, having that refined marketing message is key.
And to that point, you're funneling leads from different sectors, right? Like you have your paid strategy. You're getting leads from there. You're getting conversions from there. You have your organic strategy. You have your Facebook group strategy. So imagine, if your goal is to increase your customer list by, I don't know, let's say 60, 70%, you're now creating all these different channels that you can leverage that, right? Like you're getting 50 from here, you're getting 50 from here, 50 from here.
Imagine.
And it's to your point, that ecosystem that you're building, right? It's not just focusing on one. It's how do I make it more all-encompassing so that I'm more effective in how I approach my business.
Because sometimes like certain arms are going to work better than others at times, right? Like, if you exhaust Facebook ads, because you can exhaust it. It's called, ad fatigue. You can lose the momentum there. But if you're already building organic up, when this lose momentum here, the other part starts gaining momentum too, right? So it's having that understanding and like really just preparing yourself for the ups and downs of business, and having those real expectations.
I don't expect paid to ever leave, but like imagine that whole sector goes away, or imagine Facebook no longer runs ads, right? Like, and you're just so dependent on it, right?
Talk about like just during the holidays, the spend for companies goes through the roof, and so little guys have, you have like a limited budget, and you're competing against somebody where your budget is $3,000 a month, and now you're competing with somebody who basically just pushes all of their budget in November, December, and they're $30,000. You think that Facebook is going to give you priority at that point? No, so that's why you want to have a good solid organic strategy too, because if you're intentional with it and you know exactly what you're doing and your content is good, that's also going to help during those months where your competitors that have a bigger budget are just flooding the ads.
Completely agree. You just have to be very smart about how you do that. And make sure that you diversify your content stream and not just focus in on one, and ensure that you're producing that way.
All right, so that is it for mastering organic marketing strategies in this particular episode. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and all of the platforms. Especially YouTube and Instagram. That's where you're gonna get love.
That's right. And join the Facebook group.
And then if you wanna just kind of follow up the conversation and just talk to us, get to know us even more, make sure that you join our Facebook group. The links to all of those things are gonna be in the description below.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This was really fun. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
All the episodes have been really, really fun. And we hope you guys get a lot of value from it. That's the goal.
It's really important if you guys like on YouTube or wherever you're watching this, if you can actually put comments below, like in terms of the things that are your current challenges.
What do you want to hear about? What do you want to learn about?
Like, what kind of content you want to see. If you are listening into Apple or Spotify or whatever, send us an email. What's the best email that they can send us an email at?
Marketing@refundo.com.
Yeah, and we can
keep it simple.
We can get that information so that we can create content for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.